Hello, KLV Podcast listeners. Welcome back to HQ, where the team of KLV Weddings shares their thoughts on business, marketing, and more. I am your showrunner, Bryan. Let's get into it. How do we look on camera?
I think we look good.
Are we nice?
How's
Handsome and thin?
Yes, I'm very handsome today. Thank you very much.
All
Okay.
right. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
How are you doing today, May?
I'm good. How are you? How was your weekend?
Good. Busy.
Yeah.
No days off.
Yeah. No days off. Hashtag no days off.
Hashtag we just sprung forward in time.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know who made that up, but like it's so annoying.
You're not happy about it?
I always get annoyed with it because it throws everybody off, and then you have to deal with their like throwed off schedules. Because thank the Lord we do not work 9 to 5, so like we don't commute to work. But then when we go drive somewhere, we have all these fools who are like all thrown off, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys are so crazy, or you're not awake.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt like when I was like driving this weekend.
Do you like the extra hour of sunlight or extra few hours?
Yeah, for sure. I like the extra hour. Kevin was mentioning yesterday. He's like, spring forward is good because you get more time for engagement and you have more light. So you're not stuck with the rest in terms of light. You're not stuck with the rest during that commuting. So it's good for traveling. So with us, it kind of works.
Yeah, it's exactly into our favor, right?
Right. It's in our favor.
Right.
But I'm at home. So.
You're like, whatever.
Whatever.
I like it. It was really dark this morning when I got up. It's like pitch black.
Was it?
And I was like, what the heck?
Okay. I felt like I slept. I was like, it's 8 already.
Yeah. There was a disturbance.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into today's topic.
Cool.
And it should be interesting. It's across the board, something we all deal with, and it's battling emotions in a professional workspace.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Even harder as a leader, I think. So maybe you could provide some insight to this.
Oh man.
It's a lot easier said than done, especially like as a business owner.
Yeah.
Not only to handle your emotions, but like to make sure everyone else is in check.
Yeah.
So could you speak a little bit about your personal experience and how you do with yourself? Personal
experience with myself. Okay, so it's a huge topic.
Yeah.
Emotion. I feel, and I heard this on a JK News thing already. Sometimes they throw a little shout out all day, every day. But because I model their business ethic, they're very silly on the outside, but they know how to get stuff done on the inside. What one of the owners was mentioning was he's like, dude, if you can master your own emotions and your ego, all that other stuff that comes with running a business, you can learn all that, you know, but not too many people learn to master their own ego, learn to master their own emotions, where they can make the best decisions for the business. Like they were saying, dude, we've seen so many business owners, and us included, where our egos get in the way of growth, get in the way of hiring the right people, keeping the wrong people on. And I was like, bing, bing, bing. Like, that's us right now. Like before, when we were struggling the most was because our own emotions, we couldn't deal with it. We didn't really know.
Like, you feel like you didn't have it under control, or?
No, not at all. Yeah.
What was it like?
And it was us always blaming outside people too. He mentioned that as well. He's like, man, you'll see this. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's so true with us, because if you are, say, for example, my personal example is hiring somebody who at the time I thought is good, and I was so thirsty for the right person. I knew I'm looking for the right person, but I wasn't as experienced enough to know who that was yet. And it's kind of like when you go into a relationship, you're like, I know I want good things. Like what?
Who doesn't, right?
Who doesn't want good things? Like I want them to love me, right? In a business, you're like, I want them to love working here and all that stuff, but do a very good job. And, you know, your expectation's really high. So you want all this stuff, but you're not you don't even know what's required of you to get that, you know? To ask that of somebody.
Are you talking about the other person, or on your side? On both sides?
Yeah, both ends, you know. So it's like going back to my example, it's like, okay, I know I want the best players. All right, let's just go out in there and ask, okay, I want the best, and you got to be the best. And so I was like hella like strict.
Right.
And all that I got out of that was like people who were scared.
What do you think that was? Were you putting, like, what emotion were you putting out? Do you
I was putting out this emotion of like, all kind of like not trusting already.
Yeah.
You know, like already like, I know I'm going to deal with this bullshit. So then I like kind of expect it.
Yeah.
So, and there is a right way to do that. You know, you're going to deal with certain habits, and there's a right way to deal with those certain habits. When people come into your company, for example, you're like, I know people are going to have a trouble with the crotch crop, for example. Like that's a normal.
That's me.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody. You know, even me, right? So how do I think about that and be compassionate about this habitual mistake? It's not like it's our artistic choice, right? On our standard, how we shoot. But how would I be compassionate about that and communicate why we don't do that? You know, and give a why and a reason and a philosophy, and give somebody just a better framework of understanding. So like all these little moments of like just having that normal conversation with you, I could just plainly tell you right there. But before, it'd be like we're so hopped up on our own ego, or maybe we're the best or something like this, that we don't want to even have the compassion to try to understand others. It's like say in dating, you want the best person, but you don't want to. You're
not willing to be vulnerable,
or willing to learn, or willing to know that you need to grow too in order to attract the best person. Maybe because you haven't found the best person is because you're not the best person. Version of yourself, right? Which is like, like sometimes you don't want to face that. You're like, oh, maybe I'm in a shitty relationship, business, personal, whatever, or have shitty friendships because maybe I'm a shitty person.
Yeah.
In a way, not holistically.
Not as a whole, yeah.
And you're not. I think what was worrying.
Maybe you just have bad habits, right?
Maybe you have bad habits, and it's temporary. I think a lot of times, like people don't realize how temporary your state of life is right now. That you could change it, like in a thought. You could change it in a thought, but we tend to stick to what's familiar, and we stick to what's safe. So we're like before, when we were very strict, say about our teaching or about our emotions, and saying, oh, they're just not good enough. It's just because, yeah, kind of in a way, but they're not good enough because you're not putting in the time and effort and energy to make them good for your standard, right? It's like expecting somebody to be, you know, you have all these great expectations for them, but you're not willing to go there with them. Yeah. So that's been my experience, like before, and that's how we were taught too, like the Asian style. That's very like, I expect
where does this come from? Like, you know,
it's very Asian style.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, you're supposed to just do all that. You know, I'm like, okay. And you're really scared about any movement that you make. You know, you're supposed to do a good job, but you're never guided through it. You're never encouraged. You're not supported truly. And when you feel supported, it's like conditional. You know, when you do a good job, like say you miraculously did a good job on something, it was like, oh, we love you again. And then when you don't do a good job, you're like, I don't love you anymore. It feels like that. It's not like they don't say that, but it feels like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's been I think that's just where our upbringing came from, and I hear that so much in the JK News thing. That like they break down the cultural where it comes from. I'm like, oh, that's why. You know.
So if you had to call that like that type of emotion where you're not necessarily ready or willing to let other people kind of fail, what would you call that? Because maybe other people are dealing like
it's stupid.
It's
really.
Just untrusting.
It's very untrusting. It's immature. It's super immature. You're like, you think you're the shit. You think you're the best, and all you do is talk shit behind your computer, and you think everybody is like beneath you. And maybe in some way because you have some validation because maybe you're successful in some way, right? So you have some validation or some encouragement to keep this sort of behavior going, which is super toxic. And like we did that for each other for a long time. It's like keep encouraging really bad behavior until I was like, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like
Something feels,
Yeah.
it's not good, So we have to make a change. But yeah, definitely just not, it was immature. It was childlike. That's the best way. It's like you're an infant. You're just like me, like this.
Yeah.
Mine, my way,
Yeah.
So it's like, and I read about this in a lot of like psychological studies about that.
Like what?
Like when you're serving your ego, and I think Freud has separated the 3 identities of the self, right? Like that childlike self. I forget what they're called. Sorry. But like
layman's terms.
Yeah. You're a child, you're an adolescent, and then you become mature, right? I feel like we're adolescent right now. We're coming into maturity, but there's still very much adolescent things that keep us from growing. But I kind of think it's okay because you can't just skip steps.
You can't skip, right?
And this is our journey, right? So when I do feel that limitation in growth or a childlike sort of mentality about how we're growing or how we're making decisions in the company and personally, whatever, I just go, okay, this is where I need to learn patience. That's how you get to maturity, is you develop patience during this time of adolescence. In my experience, that's been the best method for me to calm my emotions down.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, on my end, being really angry or impatient and be like, you can't fucking do it, just go. I'll fire you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do that.
Right.
It's so easy to just cut people off.
Right.
That's really easy. And sometimes you do need to cut people off if they're toxic, right? But if there's potential there and there's a real effort or a real authentic room to grow, that too just takes time to learn how to recognize that. And to have the signs back and forth. It always must be a two-way street. It can't just be you going like, yes, it is time. Like, it's not. There must be, I feel good. Do you feel good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Let's go the next step. Yeah.
Back and forth.
Yeah, I'm not just like bouncing it off your head.
Yeah.
And that's really been the biggest lesson. And there's a lot of things where you like, it's all obvious when you hear it, when I say it. But when you're in the trenches of it and being able to execute in those moments when you are like super frustrated or angry or really sad or maybe even depressed, like, oh, I'm here again.
Yeah.
Then you have to still, again, execute patience, compassion, and forgiveness and all that stuff. And then you can go, okay, like, what is it? What is it that I'm not understanding? Like, what is my lesson here? And that's been the real, like, okay, all right, like, cool. And then when I make progress that way, it feels really good to know, like, oh, I don't have to be angry, or I don't have to jump to conclusions. I'm like,
would you say those are the 2 common ones that
yeah,
you
for
see?
Me, yeah. And if you can find your way back to that rationality, then you'll make your decisions a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can imagine too that in your position, you are, you're a business owner. You're the boss. I can imagine what it feels like to have like all these emotions running through you, but at the same time having a team that's looking up at you and like, hey, what do we do? And you're like, what does that feel like?
That feels very heavy.
Yeah.
In the beginning felt very heavy. Now I'm very proud.
Yeah.
I'm going through the change right now and I'm like, cool, I can trust B to take it, Yeah. I could trust him, or I could trust Jenna to do whatever she needs to do to get the job done. And there were a lot of times where it was like not the ideal situation and she was handling it. And I was like, that's what it is. That's what it takes to be a lead, And then when I see that, I'm like, dope, cool.
Yeah.
But like the one wedding where it was going to rain, it was like, I forget whose it was, but I was like really anxious. I was really worried. And I was having a lot of like, my body's very like, it responds. Tight. Yeah. It responds to my emotions like really well, annoyingly really well. So if I'm having something wrong with my body, it's usually coming from my brain.
Oh, okay.
My emotions. Yeah. Which is that mind-body connection.
Right.
Some people like, it's not on. Like him, it's not on. It's never ever gonna feel pain. You're just like, bae. I feel nothing, yay. But I feel everything. And I'm like, man. And I was thinking about this going to like one of my meetings, and I was like, why do I feel everything? And she doesn't feel that much, you know? And I was thinking, I think it's because I can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, when you're dealing with any sort of emotional pain, it's all, to me now it feels like, oh, this is my opportunity. If I'm going through this, it must mean I can take it because I'm not dead. As long as I'm not dead, that means I can take it. So if I can take it, cool, that's a point for me. That's like a pat on the back, like, cool. That means in some way I'm strong enough to do what's being asked of me.
Well, that's what they say. Like, our greatest weaknesses are our greatest strengths, right? So this feeling, we're like, how come I have to do it? Like,
how come I have to do it?
I feel everything, and that you may feel like that's your weakness, but maybe it's actually your strength.
I think so.
As long as you can navigate through it and not just,
not just like
let it beat you up, like just pile on top of you like that. So
I definitely have in my experience with that.
Yeah.
And then, but now I was just like talking to myself in the car. I was like, man, I think it's because I can take it. And then when I actually finally realize that and say that to myself, like, oh, it's because I can take it, then my life starts to look better. My perspective changes, and it just spirals up again instead of spiraling down.
Like a wave, like, okay, first, like it's maybe it's anger. And then it's sad. Like, is it like that?
Yeah, it's like that.
Does it come in waves like that? Yeah.
I'm like, oh! The wave just keep hitting you. Sometimes it keeps hitting you over and over again, like that.
Can you tell like what's coming, like around the corner or something?
No, I'll always feel, maybe because
you're not able to anticipate it yet?
No. Yeah. I'm very like, in those times, I'm like, I think I'm more present because I'm dealing with whatever pain.
All this stuff, right?
Yeah. And it does help me to be more present. Pain. I'm still trying to, like, in my brain, switch the meaning of the word pain to like opportunity or
for sure
focus point.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm doing a lot of punching and kicking and all this stuff that I really love, but with it comes pain because I haven't done it. So I have to build my body back up to it. So I'm having so many of these
wrists,
little pains, like everything's hurting. But I'm like, oh, it's because if I stop, then I'll never get to that point again where I was kicking and punching and all that stuff. So this is just my growing pain.
Right.
Yeah. And
opportunity.
If this hurts, it's because I need to make this stronger.
Yeah.
So I was telling myself this because I was like, oh man, why is everything hurting? Like that. And sometimes you get in that little downward spiral, but I'm like, oh, I think it's because I need to make it stronger.
Yeah.
And then right away it just switches everything. So yeah. For the team, it's like, whenever we have a pain in the team, that's how I think of it too now. I was like, oh, it's just because I need to make you stronger.
Yeah.
I just need to train you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to freak out. I used to freak out. It's like there's such a parallel to like your body and how it reacts. You know what I mean?
It's the jump to conclusions. I
Yes.
see. Okay, I see. I'm seeing it all now.
Yes.
I'm piecing it all together because I'm trying to understand. So now I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it is for me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't have to freak out because it doesn't mean just because you don't know how to do this just means that I wasn't clear, maybe.
Okay.
So I'll say it clear next time.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have to assume. That was a big problem before, is us assuming, don't you know this? Like, he always speaks to me like that. I thought you would do this. I'm like, you didn't tell me shit.
Yeah.
I thought you would do this. I'm like, why would you think that? Now I'm like disarmament, like, well, why would you think that? Like, if you're trying to teach me something, and that's something I take with you guys.
Right.
I don't just tell you, wouldn't you do this?
Yeah.
It's so condescending.
Yeah.
And then it burns the bridge. So in terms of the team, I'm always trying to be that bridge builder, which is it's a heavy weight. Cause like before I was like resisting it. I was like, why have to teach you?
Yeah.
Don't you know how to do? Aren't you a photographer? We used to say that all the time to like before, a long time ago. Aren't they photographers? like just so high and mighty, right?
Right.
It's like, well, you shot this way too before. Mm-hmm. You know, we all did. We all started somewhere.
I hear a lot about like the past version of you guys, and I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, I like to mention it because I'm like, dude, we're here.
Yeah, no, I get it too. That's why I always bring up, like, I was not the same person, like, even 3-4 years ago.
I'm always stoked how far we've come in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I'm like very proud of us, you know?
Yeah.
I'm so proud that we made it.
Yeah. I think, I feel the same way about myself. And it's cool because you tell me these stories about you guys. And I'm like, wow, it's so different because you guys encourage, like today I walked in, you guys said, oh, you're improving, you're adjusting, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Nice.
No, you are. I was having a blast just editing it. And I love to edit something that I know exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And I know the where you've been coming from. So I'm just very proud editing your work and looking through your work. And the same thing when I see anybody progress and that we've helped cultivate that. Whereas I know that it could have gone the other way. I know very easily it could have gone the other way. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, cool, it's a nice little treat to know the work that we've been doing on ourselves to be better teachers, to not be toxic, to be encouraging, to learn patience, all that stuff. Like, you guys are the proof of it.
It's showing.
And it's so like encouraging.
Yeah.
So I get really pumped. I'm editing it, like barely cropping, you know, not like finding the shot in the photo. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I came in and like there was, you still as an employee, you get this kind of feeling where maybe it's because you have like past arrows from other bosses and you're like, oh my God, here we go. It's Monday.
Yeah.
Here comes the knife in the heart. You know, like,
oh, from your work?
Just like I've had so many jobs and like,
I see.
So I've come from so many places and I'm just like, okay, here's Monday.
It happens.
It's just like this, like an old habit you're trying to kick, even though you guys are never been like that.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm expecting it. Yeah. Right.
Well, it's like getting cheating on a previous relationship, and then you go to your next one, and then you have all your walls up, right?
Yeah.
Like I totally did that. I was like, this motherfucker gonna hurt me, you know. So I had all these walls up when we were first dating.
Dodging,
like, just being like, you know, really like not being vulnerable. So it's and that happens the same in work, you know, like the moment that you get hurt, and I always try to not do that with everybody, because sometimes you're so unconscious of your own demons or your own bad habits, and you don't mean to hurt people, but you do. And it's even like, it's not even like trying to hurt somebody. It's like maybe your criticism, you know, that hurts them.
Right.
Not that you mean to, but it does hurt when you receive criticism, regardless. You're like, ah.
So I was going to ask, because you mentioned that about the criticism and all the things like that.
Yeah.
Is there, let's say here's criticism, right? Here's the employee, here's you. There must be a filter, right? To get that to your employee, to say it correctly, to not hurt.
Yeah.
I imagine the filter that you guys use has progressed over time, right?
Yeah. It's so much better.
Yeah. What would you say it's like today?
I'd say it's still, the intent has to be, this is not to damage. This is to encourage. Yeah. You know, the why is really strong now. And our own jerk reaction or reptile brain to go like, oh, there's a shitty shot or something like this. Like whatever jerk reaction that your ego wants to say.
Yeah.
I think you should still allow yourself to say it, but like quietly to yourself. Because if you repress that, you're not really embracing all.
It may explode later.
Yeah, it may explode later. Exactly.
Yeah.
So just letting it kind of out, and you should do that. I think with everything, you shouldn't bottle up your emotions, whatever they are, and let that out, kind of like to yourself, and then go, okay, I just had an incident where something made me upset, or something's not right. Something's not right. Okay, cool. There's a note here, so we take a note. Teach crotch crop or whatever. Yeah. Like, okay, cool. So then it's just left up to the follow-up thing, which is like, okay, so the filter becomes, here's the reason why. Don't take this personally. And remember, as I give you this criticism, this is only to make you better, and I see it. I see it in your work, you know what I mean? So there's always this encouragement, like, yes, but this. Yeah. Yes, but this. So you're just towing the line instead of just being like, here's an anchor and you suck. And
start like, swimming.
So it sucks. It sucks to hear it that way, or to be condescending. I think that's the one I think we're still, learning. Especially if there's two cooks in the kitchen, somebody may be more emotionally intelligent than the other. And so that's what kind of makes it difficult, I think, in our situation, because it's not just one person. But it is good in that our polarity provides balance.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Like Courtney's always calling us mom and dad, which is hilarious. But that's how it is. It's like your mom and dad is polarity.
It does.
There's like the strict one and there's the fun one or whatever. Like we both try to be the best of what we can be, but we're not going to be fake. Like I definitely have a different way of teaching or talking to you guys versus Kevin. Right. But I'm like, I'm not trying to be him and he's not trying to be me. So I think that polarity completes us, and however flawed or perfect we can be sometimes, like that's who we are. Yeah. And I think if we just let you guys know, hey, we're trying our best. Yeah. We're trying our best. We're learning all the time. We're learning with you. And we're always trying to just start the conversation. Yeah. And keep telling you it's okay. Yeah. Like you could tell us. Yeah. Right. So that's the best we can do at this time. Like we can't be perfect all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely agree, and I feel that with your guys' training styles, they're both very different. Right. But I would say in the work, both very effective. Right. I think so.
I think so too. Yeah. Like before we would not really kind of be stepping over each other a little bit too much, and when it's his time to teach, I'm quiet. Yeah. And then I ask if it's my turn to teach you be quiet. Yeah. Because you can't have, conflicting things. That's why in the beginning of your training, it was like, let's keep his world small and let me handle this first. And then you can take off because I know you're excited to teach all the things. Yeah. But for a beginner, it's not effective. Right. And I would always think about how I would try to be learning something from him and he's always on step 5. Yeah. And I'm like, but I need step 1. So it's just an agreement where you need to kind of just slow down, have compassion. The compassion is just understanding who's on the other side over there and how can I bridge this gap?
Yeah, I think you guys definitely benefit from the two different sides because some companies don't have that. Yeah. And you just get the one.
Yeah. I think it's a plus for us.
I think so too. And just in my training, like you said, you kept the world very small. Yeah. You kept it. Oh, we can't go there yet. Don't like
come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And it helped. It helped a lot. And then Kevin took me on and then started showing me things. And he does the same thing. The wording is different, but I was talking about like off-camera flash. He's like, okay, let's do this first before we go into
That's good. See, he's checking himself.
Yeah, even though, I do want to learn. I want to learn everything, but, it helps when you say, hey,
rein it back,
calm down there.
Yeah. Well, those are the ways that we can predict what's coming. Yeah. And it's better just to go, oh, no, let's just go back here. Let's master this first. Yeah. Right.
So you guys are both doing the same thing. It's just your speeches are different and your approach is different, but none of it is negative, I would say.
That's good. Yeah. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been really cool. I feel like I can ask you guys questions. Yeah. I don't feel like terrified, like, oh man, they're gonna tell me I'm stupid or something,
Well, you know how some people hear it, like we'll never say that, but somebody will take it. They told me I'm stupid.
Yeah. So it helps. I think so. I think it's with the two different sides. I think it's very, very cool. Actually,
it's good, and it just helps that you're around us so much, so you know who we are, and you know how we're like, and whereas the other team members, they're not really so much around us as much, so maybe they don't know all the mannerisms or what we mean.
Yeah.
Or, just the energy, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, you have that huge advantage.
Yeah.
In terms of learning.
Yeah, I'm around. I'm here.
You're
like
here
I'm
all
in the
the
corner,
time,
So it does help. But going back to the topic of the filter, it sounds like you could use this in like outside of work too. I mean, the way you approach, tote the line.
Yeah. We use it in our relationship all the time.
Relationship, friendships, would you say?
Friendships. I mean, I haven't had much practice with friendships because honestly, we don't have many friends outside of our business life. And we're trying, like with you guys, supporting the company and we can feel comfortable that you can help us run it, then we can feel free to step outside of our role and go make friends. But usually the friends have to be industry related.
Yeah.
So
that's my goal. Is for you guys to have friends.
Yeah.
Which means
get these guys some friends.
Yeah, by working harder and for you to trust us. That's my goal.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for helping us have friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of okay with it, but at the same time, I think me not having friends is severely limiting my personal growth for sure. I know that. Because my only contact is my team and my husband, and that's it. And JK News, like what a loser.
Yeah, it's something natural, I would say, right? Like you can even feel it. Like, man, I've been isolated for so long. I need like human contact, right?
Yeah,
like at least 3 or 4 people.
And I'm probably awkward as hell. If we're not talking about business, I'm probably just gonna be super shy. I maybe try to.
You're
talk
shy?
To you. Oh, I'm very shy.
I don't see shy.
I'm alive because I'm in my element and we're doing business and this is all my shit. But like if we go outside to say a party and they don't know me or whatever, I'm like,
twiddling.
I am lamb. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've always been that way. So until I'm in my element, say it's like sports or there's like some sort of like activity or something, I'm not saying shit.
Yeah.
I'm very quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. I don't see that.
You only see this side because this is where I'm alive.
This is your realm.
This is my realm for sure. And then I go outside of my realm. I'm like,
Can you recall a time like that recently?
Recently, no, there's so few and far between because honestly, I just don't leave here.
Yeah.
So, but like maybe the most recent one that I can remember is like maybe we go to like one of those mixer parties because we were trying to be semi-social last year. And like we went to like 2 things and we were like very tired after. We were like, okay, that's good.
That's enough of that.
That's enough of that. But even when I'm talking with like say girlfriends or something and they know what I'm into, but I'm trying not to talk about business, it's like I can't say anything to them. Like one of my good friends, Anne, like she's like probably only a female friend that I have who's like not in the business. And like we haven't talked ever. And I feel like when we do, like it'll be a good spurt of like 20 minutes. And then after that I'll be like, so let me tell you what's happening in the business.
We got this.
Yeah, and then that's it. That's what the conversation will turn into.
So it seems like the business is just like always lurking.
It's number one in our life.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten to this point because we're obsessed.
Yeah. I'm sure it's like a proud thing too, right?
Oh,
like when you talk about it, like, when you say we have this, and that, it comes from a proudful place, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm very proud of this. I'm proud of what we've been able to do. At the same time, I'm like, am I balanced?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm balanced.
Well, it goes into the whole thing with the emotions. You have to check yourself, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Like when you say, am I balanced? What's the next step after that?
I start talking to myself.
Yeah, I talk to myself too.
Literally, I'm talking to myself in the car. Like I had these little revelations, and that's how I got out of being cripplingly shy. I was so shy that I didn't know how to talk to people, stuttered a lot. And then I was like, how do I talk to people? And I'd talk to myself in the car. Yeah. And I would try to emulate like celebrity interviews. You know how comfortable they are when they talk, right?
Yeah,
like on an interview. And I was like, dude, I want to be like that.
Articulate. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to practice. Like, so podcasting is a way for me to do that.
Do you practice, say you're in the car, you out loud verbally, or is it here?
Verbally, yeah. You know how they have that study where it's like you're either a in your head sort of person or you're a talk it out person.
Right.
And I'm definitely a talk it out person.
Okay.
In the privacy of my own car.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't mind going to the studio. I'm like, there's traffic right now, but I'll just talk to myself about some issue that's like on my mind. And I'll work out how I want to, I don't know. Like, I'll just work out my thoughts about it. Yeah. As if I was being interviewed. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So the question will come in my head, and then I'll just start talking as if I'm on a show or something like that.
Right. Gotcha.
And that's how I got better at speaking.
Yeah, I kind of do something similar. Sometimes it's internal, sometimes it's external.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to like learn other languages. So this morning I found myself like talking to myself, but now more in Spanish, a little bit more in German. I took German in high school.
Oh, you did?
So I'm like talking to myself in other languages now.
That's cool.
Which is really funny. It's
That's
a really
so
funny.
cool.
I was washing my hands and I was like, thinking in Spanish. I was like, whoa. Now I have different voices.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So you don't know how to speak Spanish?
I do, but not...
not fluently?
Not fluently. Necesito más practicar.
You need to learn more?
No, I need more practice. No es complicado. Yeah.
Complicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not hard. It's very similar to English.
Yeah.
But
she took 4 years of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you speak?
No. I'm sure you could figure it out, if you left him in Mexico for a minute.
Yeah. I think he did go to Mexico or something. I didn't ask him if he spoke it though.
No, he didn't.
What about you guys? Do you speak other?
He understands Vietnamese. I barely understand Tagalog because I'm super Americanized.
Yeah.
But I think my parents were like, we don't want you to have an accent. We want you to be assimilated and we want you to have a better time, right? So they just focused completely on English.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't enforce it.
I feel like that happened in my family too.
Yeah. So I was like...
But I wish I learned. Like,
me too.
It's cool though. I'm learning now. It's all good.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I mean, some things I can kind of get just from I've been around it for so long, so I kind of like will kind of get what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But then otherwise, if they just start talking smack about me, I'm just like, I can only understand if it's like the energy. I'm like, these fools are talking smack. Okay, bye.
You could feel it.
Heck yeah, you can feel it. You know when somebody's being all like chismosa about like you, and you're just like, you're talking about me, aren't you? Bye.
I'm just gonna walk out.
Walk out of here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now would be a good time to go into our shutter speed questions.
Shutter speed.
You know how this works, right?
Yes. I'll try to be a lot faster this
quickly as you can, and yes or no if that's what it calls for.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
First question is, what is your most valued possession?
Oh my God. Stop. Oh no.
Talk,
valued?
Talk.
Maybe my wedding ring.
Oh, okay. Is final answer?
No.
Oh, no.
I feel like it doesn't, because I'm like, I'm thinking about my marriage, but I'm like, a ring is just a ring. My marriage is without a ring. Maybe my iMac, because I can do so much work from it. Like I can get shit done with my iMac.
Final answer? iMac?
Yeah, iMac.
Okay.
Screw the ring. Screw the ring.
Okay.
My marriage is in my brain.
Next question, number 2. If you could bring a guest on maybe a personal podcast, this podcast, anyone at all, live or dead, who would you bring?
Ooh.
To interview?
Live or dead?
Live or dead.
Whoa. Live or dead? Anybody. Holy crap. Why do these things always stump me?
You didn't ask yourself these questions, apparently.
Yeah, no, I did not. Live or dead? Oh my God. Maybe like...
And they would come into the current situation that we all live in right now. So they'd be in current times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lord. this kind of goes with like the hero thing, because since I don't have like a hero,
It could be anybody, relative. It doesn't have to be someone of,
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, maybe my grandma Boshang. Because her name is awesome.
What's up with grandma?
Grandma Boshang.
Why grandma?
My mom would always talk about her. And I feel like if I had her connection, then she could tell me about all the other, because nobody has really an idea what happened before her,
right.
or they don't have it documented. So it'd be kind of cool to like just have a line into that, legacy, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, I like
never
that.
Met her.
Yeah, you know what she looks like, or
heck no. Yeah, she had really long gray hair or white hair. I think that's all that I remember from my mom.
Okay. All right. Next question. If your life was a movie, who would you cast as yourself?
Oh, I think Gina Hernandez. Is it Gina Hernandez?
I'm not sure.
It's like Gina something. But
What's she from? Her. What's she from?
She's from. She just did a Netflix movie. It was about like becoming single or something, but it was hilarious. Virgin Mary, something Virgin Mary. Oh man!
But that's your answer, Gina.
Yeah, it's
Gina
Hernandez, I think.
Yeah,
I forget her last name, but she's awesome. She's funny. She's
hilarious. Put a picture of her here.
Yeah, I feel like we have the same. Like if I worked out, I could be the same build.
I say that to myself about The Rock all the time. I feel like
The Rock.
I would cast The Rock. No question.
No question. All right.
Just imagine The Rock like with these little cameras on him.
Or it'd be so hilarious to be like how Jumanji was. So like Jack Black could be me. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Okay. Next question. What song best describes your life?
Oh, my life?
Yeah. Maybe a theme song to your life.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you're going to say something Disney.
How are you thinking that?
It just, I don't know. It's there.
Holy crap.
It's here somewhere.
I'm thinking of Disney movies. And like I like Quest for Camelot a lot too.
Yeah,
like that with
DreamWorks.
Yeah, DreamWorks. Dang. I really like Hercules.
That's
Go
a
the
good
Distance.
soundtrack.
Yeah, that one. Go the Distance. That's a good one.
Michael Bolton.
No, I like the original.
Yeah, the original.
I don't like when celebrities come in and mess my shit up.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Get that out of here.
Meg's song was really good too.
Yeah.
That doesn't really describe my life. I think Go the Distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good
song
one.
gives me chills. I love that song.
That one's a good one.
Good choice.
I like that one a lot. I'm always just like, I feel like I'm climbing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like always looking up.
Do you play the soundtrack pretty often?
I play all the soundtrack. I have a Disney
too.
soundtrack. And I'm like, should I private this?
Private?
And I'm like, fuck it.
Be proud. That's good stuff. Awesome. Yeah, I think... Let's see. I would definitely cast The Rock as me.
Yeah, let me ask you. Let me ask you now. Okay, shutter speed.
It's not as fast though, because I already thought about them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, as I read them.
Okay.
I'll answer them though.
Okay. Okay, I will tweak these.
Okay, tweak away.
All right, shutter speed questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Clear your mind.
Clear.
All right. What in the last year? Oh, in the last year since now to like, so you have a solid year.
Last March.
Yep. Is your most value. What is the most exciting thing that you bought?
Ooh, exciting thing that I bought?
Yeah.
It's going to sound really lame, but the Adobe programs.
You bought them? That's expensive.
Them. Yeah, because I used to go into the lab at school, and I would go till like 10 o'clock when they would kick me out.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it at the time, so now that I have them and I can take them with me everywhere, it's awesome. Like,
that's nice.
It's not a.
You have everything.
I have everything.
Suite. Nice.
It's not a grand like.
I used to have the whole suite.
Some people would say a car or something, but
We use your student discount?
Yeah, I use student discount.
Hook it up.
It's expired today, actually.
Oh, darn.
So I have to find a deal.
Okay. I'm going to tweak your guest thing.
Okay.
Okay, so if you could bring it, who? Okay. In the real world and in your scope of people, or like, how about on our team? Who would you like to bring onto the show?
In the KLV team?
In the KLV team.
Ooh, that's a good question. Because off the top of my mind, all of them one by one. But someone...
Who's first?
Who's first? I think there's a story with Marcus. There's now there's people at... I think something cool... there'd be a cool conversation with Marcus, and Michael comes to mind as well.
Michael too. Yeah. Huh? That'd be good to have them on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have a celebrity role model besides The Rock?
The Rock was... I said The Rock because that was my first one when I was like 8 years old. But a celebrity... Is that what the question was? Mm-hmm. A celebrity idol? Role model?
Or do you like anyone in particular?
Like who I look up to or something like that?
Yeah. Somebody you could like maybe vibe with.
There's a lot. It would be a different category. Like, as far as directors go, I like Zack Snyder a lot.
Directors, yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder.
I'd like to pick his brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. What song best describes your life? What's on repeat right now for you?
Oh, man. Sun City by Khalid.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah. He's got a really good album.
Yeah.
They're just all really good.
Khalid is just all hits. Man. Shout out to that guy, man. That boy can sing.
Yeah, he can. I like all that stuff. Me too. It's very chill and very like, sometimes it's got that just coolness to it.
Just today, I probably listened to that song like 15 times. On my way to school, on my way here, during work.
Dude, you know when you shared that All I Ever Wanted from Prince of Egypt?
Prince of Egypt.
I put that on repeat.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh yeah. I was telling Jen, I was like, dude, I didn't know they had the soundtrack down there because before I would go and try to find all my favorite songs. And like for some reason, sometimes Spotify doesn't have it. Like they don't have Anastasia soundtrack, which is like kills me. And finally when that was on, I was like, dude, I'm listening to it.
I love that song because in just that one song, you see him go like this. And then at the end, he goes back down.
But the tempo and the energy of it is so powerful.
The violins in the beginning.
I love it. And the breathing, like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
so
I love it. I mean, I could go into detail about that song. Like he starts off and he's like, he's describing his life, and then he's like trying to convince himself that he's a king or whatever, and then he starts questioning himself, and you could hear it in the melody,
and all that irony.
And I was like, oh man, this is so awesome. It's so
I was
good.
Like, oh,
and those people are geniuses.
I know, and it's so underrated.
Yeah,
no one
talks
there's so many of those like that, and I was like, man, this is good writing.
Yeah. Good stuff.
They don't make them like that anymore.
They really don't. Like, what's Frozen? I haven't even seen the second one.
Retarded.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Heck no.
No.
Because I saw a smidge of Frozen 1 and I was like, this is stupid.
This ain't Hercules. Yeah, that's...
I was like, what is this? I feel all your agendas coming out in all of these weird movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't dig it.
Yeah.
Don't dig it at all.
I don't think there was like stuff like that. Was there? Or maybe I was too young to notice.
They didn't beat you over the head with it,
Yeah.
I feel like they were very focused on telling a very good story.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all just like, oh, this isn't like with everything today. It's all about like labeling it like, oh, this is an all Asian cast. This is all directed by women. This is all female. I was like, who cares? Is the story good or what?
And nowadays, mostly it's not, right?
Yeah, and it's not because they're focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Just let that all come naturally.
There's a lot of like debate, like the Mulan movie. Are you thinking it's going to be dope, or are you thinking?
I think it's going to have a lot of China influence.
Yeah.
Because they have their rules. They're like, hey, you can't do shit without our approval. So that's going to limit creativity in some way. Right? I'm like, but I'm
like half and half with it right now.
I definitely want to see it for sure.
I'll go watch
powerful. It. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. if I do feel that it has some overarching China number one, China, like then I'll be like, I'm
gonna use the restroom. Yeah.
I'll be like, where am I? but I'll give it a shot for sure. You know, yeah. I'm definitely like, it looks powerful, looks emotional.
Yeah.
And like if it hits all those Asian things for me, where I'm like, oh, I know, I understand, then I'm down with it. But if they're trying to just use it as like weird propaganda.
Did you feel like that with the original? Like, oh, I can identify with that.
Heck no, because it was hilarious.
Yeah, there's nothing.
And I was like, you guys are being, you know, you're taking a very serious story and breaking it up and making it, you know, comedy with like Eddie Murphy and everything. And it was great. It was awesome. And all the music was really good too.
Yeah.
And all the characters were really great too.
Right.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. It's so funny.
Good story, good cast, good music, right?
So funny, so emotional, still hits you in all the right moments. It doesn't linger too much on one thing. It doesn't have those annoying characters. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like telling a good story, you know, just keeping it real. Right. That was also underrated when it came out.
Mulan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably true because I remember going there. I think my dad took me to see it. Yeah. And there was no one in the theater, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and the Hollywood execs or whoever's making the decision go like, oh, it's because she's freaking Asian. Yeah. Or like Pocahontas got really underrated.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
They don't even put her with the rest of the princesses. It's because I was like, oh, it's because she's brown, huh?
Yeah. Is she a princess? I don't know that.
She's a princess in her tribe, right? So they're like, but they don't include her in the Disney princess marketing thingy.
Do you think Leia should be included?
Leia? That's the talk of it, huh? Well, she is a princess, but then she turned into a general.
Doesn't Mulan become general? Or she hangs out with General Shang?
Yeah, she doesn't become a general.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
I didn't watch the sequel, so I don't know.
The sequel was more, she was kind of doing the same thing, but like a personal, I guess, soldier for the emperor. Mm-hmm. And the sequel is very emotional.
That's perfect.
Talk to Jenna about that because she loves that movie.
It all ties in what we're talking about, emotional, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just like these characters, they have to deal with their, you know, emotions, and they have to overcome something.
Right. I think the best tools for myself have been books. Your own failing, that's been a really good teacher too. You're like, why am I here again? Why am I here hiring another person again? Or is this going to work out?
What do you do in the moment? Like, okay, let's say something, it's happening in real time. You're at work. Something is not going right. Mm-hmm. And you got these spiking emotions and you're questioning yourself. What's the first step that you feel that you do? Cool
down, I think. For sure.
Cool
down. So
like
if things are spiking or things are getting kind of prickly, it's like, okay, I need to remove myself before I start becoming irritated.
Like from your office, from the house,
from whoever I'm being prickly with.
Yeah.
Like if there's a weird energy there, it's like, okay, I'm going to back off because I don't want to let this sort of weird toxic energy like infect the way that I feel about you as a whole. Like this is a moment in time. And it's like, to me, I know myself, which I'll be very reactionary. And it'll be hard for me to like come down from that. So I'll just be like, okay, I need to cut off my emotions basically if I feel that way, because then it's dangerous territory.
What do you mean dangerous?
It's like if I stay there in this situation with you in your presence, continuing to feel your negativity or anything like that, then I'll start to like close off, get snippier, get spikier, get colder, right? So, and then that can escalate and lead to like an explosion or something. Which that's not really you. So I try to get to, for me, I'm like, okay, this is not good right now. Like your brain starts throwing off all these little signals. So for me, I always like try to cut off my emotion.
Right.
And then physically remove myself and be like, oh, I'll just go in my office.
First remove yourself.
Yeah.
Second, cut your emotion.
Or reverse that.
Or reverse emotion, cut your emotion.
Because you have to be able to like recognize like, oh, all right.
Step 3.
You were just condescending to me, and my gut reaction is to like snap back at you and defend, right? Because you've just put a little arrow in me. So with that little arrow, I'm like, put the shields up. So instead of staying there and trying to like be ready to defend and ready to like stab and stuff, it's better to just, for me, like go, okay, all right, bye. Yeah. And just remove myself, because I don't want to do anybody any favors.
Right. So what would step 3 be?
Step 3 would be to, if I'm still mulling it over, or to me, it's always analyze. Was I correct? Was I okay in feeling that way and walking away? Or what just happened? What just happened there? I didn't like that.
Are you able to talk to yourself like truthfully in
That's
these
when
moments?
I get in my head. That's where
I
I don't verbalize.
Yeah.
It's weird. Because then I think it comes from fear. Like, am I okay feeling like this? So all of this is in my head. I'm like, and I'll be working mindlessly, but thinking about it. And then if it's still bothering me, I'll start to write out all the things and try to be like, am I justified feeling like this? And then if I am, I'm like, okay, cool. So I feel like I'm justified. I gave myself time to be rational and reasonable. And I'm just going to work out all the ways where I will approach this conflict next time. Right? Whenever I feel okay to have the conversation, I will have had a plan already made out. Like, this is why I'm like this, or feel like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very similar to how I would do something, especially working for someone. My first thing is to always cut off like the emotion of it's a personal attack.
Yeah.
Because you're an employee and you're here to do a job, right?
Right.
So that's my first thing. And then usually it's very rare that I get pushed beyond that. Yeah. You know, like it's very, very rare I can do it.
Well, for us, we have a separation. Yeah. Right. I think it's harder if you know somebody for a long time, or you've worked with them for a long time, or maybe it's a habitual way that you found yourself in this conflict. You know, how you found yourself in this conflict is how it happens all the time. Yeah. So you're like, maybe don't have that. I know one thing I tend to do is I tend to run towards the conflict because I want to figure it out. Like, well, you're male, I think. Male-wise, they like to do that. What's wrong? Like, give me some space. I noticed that. I'm like, I don't like... Maybe it's because the mission has to get done. Like, yeah. Like we went out with Kevin last week, and he's like, "There is no tomorrow." That's how. Like, I want the cupcakes now. That's what it feels like. Eat like there's no tomorrow, but I'm like, but I want to save it. That's what it feels like when there's conflict. Like for me, like if I'm dealing with something. Yeah. I'm like that too. I don't like to let it linger for like longer than a day, but I do need time in between. Yeah, there's definitely people where like, in my experience, not immediately. Yeah, it's not immediate for some people. I'm like, I need to process. I need to figure out if I'm wrong or right. Yeah. And it seems like as if I was trying to figure it out, the more I try to figure out, the worse it gets. It seems like. I'm opposite. Yeah. I think it's the way. Maybe it's the way your brain is like. Because Kevin will be the same way. Like, he hasn't really had time to process by himself. He won't really process it until I do the processing. And I know that he'll come to me and be like, he'll want an explanation of something, right? And so I have to say why my position, right? I have to argue my position, basically, and defend my position in argument, like in speech. So that's why I'm already like in that mode of like, well, I need to put together my argument and make sure I can defend it in a court of law. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. So in our situation, which is typically the only situation that I find myself in those cases, is like, that's how I process. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not going to spend this time like feeling arguments. It's because the love is so strong too, because you care so much about somebody that you're even doing all that extra work.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't care, you would be like, okay, fuck off, man, you know?
Right.
If I don't care about you, I'm not going to spend the time
I agree.
to try to figure stuff out and come to solution. Or
It's the same thing with your employees. Like if you didn't care, you know,
yeah, I'm like, I'm
put
done,
your boots
dude.
on and get out of here.
I'm done, dude. Bye.
Yeah.
You know? So, or if you burn the bridge, then what? There's nothing to build here, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do with this?
Yeah. That's going to be our thumbnail. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, that's my, where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, so for the last part is the analyzing.
Yeah.
Is there a final step where you feel?
For sure. Final is like, you need to like hug it out after. You gotta hug it out after. You have to have a little bow on top of things. Closure, I think. They call that closure, right?
Is that from a book? The bow thing? I've never heard that before.
No, it's just me. Like I like things to feel complete. Or like cool.
That's right. That is you.
Stamp.
Purist.
Yeah. So I want it to feel like from start to finish, you know, we're done with it. And then when I'm done with it, I'm done with it.
Okay.
Like I don't like to go back to it. But he's not like that. So I have to keep sometimes reopening the book. Remember what I told you, and there's a book here.
Yeah.
You know, like he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." And I'm like, "It's closed now." Okay. And then tomorrow I'll go get the book again.
Yeah. Slam it on the table.
Yeah. But now I'm like okay with it. I think that's what like the best relationships are. You're okay with those little things that you have with each other, whether it's a friendship or an employee or a boss or your husband. It's like you need to be okay with all those things.
Yeah.
Because they're okay with it with you.
You shouldn't want to like change them or anything, right?
Yeah. It's, you know, you're accepting each other and all of your faults. That's what I'm learning is unconditional love. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yes, I'm going to encourage you to grow and be your best version of yourself. This does not mean settling for shitty behavior or unacceptable behavior, but definitely I'm not gonna like keep score.
Tallies, right?
Yeah, keep score. Like, oh, you did it again. That's so toxic, right?
Yeah.
So that's.
Do you have a goal for 2020 to get to a point maybe in this, like emotionally and with the workplace? Do you have like a version of yourself that you see that you want to get to?
Yeah, I would like to be just very zen, just present. Like, yeah, and okay with like, and knowing that if there are pains in the business that come from emotions like that, it is temporary. Just like with physical pain, but it will come with pain. It will come with emotional and physical pain, whatever it is. But that's what it means to grow. And like really accepting that. Sometimes you say that all the time, like it's like hashtag growth, whatever, but you don't really believe it. You're not like executing like from inside that it's really true for you. So it's like that fake it till you make it sort of deal. Like, cause you can read about it, but until you're actually practicing with that mentality daily, it's a daily practice of keeping your emotions in check. Then you're never really going to inhabit that, you know? So for me, like every day is a chance to practice that. Every day.
Yeah. Every hour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that.
And then sometimes you're like, oh, this is heavy, or it's like, this is hard, you know, like, oh, practice every day.
Yeah. Every day.
Every day. But then as you do it, like with anything, like you're working out with Kevin, right? Like, is it becoming easier as you? It
is, right.
Like waking up, doing all the crazy things.
I was talking to him about it at our last wedding. I said the first 2 times I went out and shadowed, my body wasn't used to the like cameras and stuff the 7200 and just like moving with it.
Right.
So I didn't know how to use my back properly.
Right.
We started working out and now I don't feel it till like the last maybe 2 hours of the wedding, which is,
good.
you can bear it. It's
Yeah.
only 2 hours.
Yeah.
Goes by fast. But
Right.
before, I'd be like at ceremony, like, oh man,
Yeah, yeah.
So the body's getting stronger.
Good.
It's getting used to it. Just like anything, practice, repetition.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I barely punched and I was done. Like, I couldn't edit. I was like, oh. And then I was like, wait, I just need to do it more.
Yeah.
That's it. That's been my big kind of like wake up call with pain. Where before there was a lot of ways where I was like, cool, pain, yeah, it's growing pain, yeah. But then on everything else, I saw it as something to be scared of and like avoid it. And so now I'm like, any moment where I see or feel pain, it's like, oh, it's just because it has to get stronger.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the fun part of life, I think, is just getting
like,
stronger. Yeah.
Cool. It's
Awesome.
temporary.
All right, cool. We'll wrap things up with an anonymous question.
Okay.
Yeah, you ready for it?
Ready.
Okay, the question is, how do you know you have the right idea to start a business?
You don't. That's why you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You don't know shit.
And that's how you end the show.
You don't know it.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with not knowing it too. That you have to be okay with that. You have to know that is the risk, but you cannot be afraid of risk. You must be risking things all the time. Every time we try risk, like we do all these like TikToks or whatever, it's like it's very experimental, or let's try this keyword to get this post noted.
Marketing itself is
all
a
of
risk,
that.
right?
All risk, yeah. Until you develop your own standard, your own until you see your own patterns within your own whatever your idea is and everything, you have to give yourself the chance to get there. You're like, is this idea good? Try it. Then you will know.
Yeah.
Right? So try it. If it doesn't work, you scrap it and you move on. Or you take all the good bits from it and you put that into your next idea. And just don't take so damn long with it. Move quickly. That way you can know faster. Like I always I want to do things very quickly so I can know faster. That's why I like to move quickly. It's not just because, yes, I like to move quickly, but it's also like, let's see what kind of stories are effective. If you take forever to do all the stories, right, then we won't know or be able to establish a pattern. The same thing with everything that we do. There's a pattern to the way things work. So the faster that we can get that information or that data, the better we can make a better decision, or the faster we can make a better decision. Yeah. So you just got to do it.
Just got to do it. Try it. Risk it. Don't be afraid, right?
Yeah.
That's
Don't get
it.
married to it. You're going to have another idea.
Yeah.
Ideas are a dime a dozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's executing your idea. That's the work.
It's always the first step that people have trouble with. You just got to do it. Just jump in the pool.
Yeah. And sometimes you need somebody to say, go do it. You're
Or
like,
push you.
Oh, thanks.
Someone's going to push you in there.
Yeah.
Start it. Yeah. That's Meg right now. She's pushing you into the business.
Yeah.
Just go start it.
I get that too. I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, should I talk about it? Should I bring this up? Like, I really want to get these cool little boxes. And then, like, for some reason, I don't want to say anything. And I'll feel so timid. And then sometimes you just need to hear somebody say, yeah, it's okay. You're like, oh, thanks.
What?
It's so stupid. But we're like that. Like, as humans, we want community. We want validation. We want somebody to say, yeah, it's okay. You can do it. Even though like, who's stopping you? It's so silly how we think. But we're weird.
Yeah.
We're weird little beings.
Cool. All right. That was awesome. We covered the emotions and, how to deal with it. Just start your business. Yeah, awesome.
Fun. Always fun.
We'll be back again next week. And thank you guys.
Giving away books?
We're giving away books. We'll announce that on Wednesday. We'll announce the winner, and we'll be sending that out autographed by
cool. Yeah.
Meg Lavue. So be on the lookout for that.
He's going to put a little message in there for you, too.
I'll put a little message, and we'll be doing one giveaway each week.
Cool.
So be on the lookout for that, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the KLV Podcast. Learn more about us at kevinlavueweddings.com or on Instagram @KevinLavue @KLV Podcast. You can rate and review us on iTunes and watch us on YouTube. Join us next time sharing more of our experiences and lessons.